Hello and welcome to Sunday Morning with Ajaz Haque. Today we'll cover a number of topics. Resign or not to resign. That's the quandary for PDM. The PM's visit to Sialkot this week. Trump gets his wrist slapped along with his idiotic lawyer Rudy Giuliani. Iran takes his revenge. Prince Turki Al Faisal of Saudi Arabia slams Israel. And China's exports take a 21% jump in November, and then we'll cover the financial markets. But first, the PDM, Pakistan Democratic Movement, which is holding its rally, make or break rally, I guess, today in Lahore. No doubt they will gather a few thousand people, and there'll be a lot of noise, how successful it is. But then these rallies do not remove governments. They may eventually make governments, provided it's one political party or an alliance. But this is a loose alliance. And basically, the dilemma for PDM is that while Nawaz Sharif and Fazlur Rahman are insisting on resignation of all the members of parliament, the Pakistan People's Party has absolutely no desire to resign. As pointed out by our constitutional expert, Barrister Ajaz, that even if everybody resigns, it will make no dent to the government. And there'll be by-elections, and if the same people get elected again, then so what? Where do they stand? And if they don't get test election and PTI takes over those seats, they'll end up with 2/3 majority in the lower house. And all this gameplay is to somehow block the Senate election in March, where PTI is expected to take as many as 53 seats in all. But it seems that gamble is not going to pay off for PDM because the Senate elections will be held unless the assemblies are dissolved. The only assembly that can be dissolved is Sindh, and the Pakistan People's Party is in no mood to dissolve the assembly and lose the only government they have, as a lot of investigations are going on, and the chances are if there's re-election, they may not even come back, or they may lose many seats. So, resign or not to resign? If you hear the PML and the JUIF people, they're very hawkish about it, but most of the others are not. And there are many in the alliance who have no seats at all, so they have nothing to lose. The Prime Minister visited Pakistan's dynamic city of Sialkot this week. Now, Sialkot is one of those cities which accounts for nearly 10% of all of Pakistan's exports, and it grows exports by almost as much as 14 to 15% every year. So it deserves special attention. The PM announced a 1.7 billion rupee development package. The businessmen of Sialkot, they built the airport with their own money, and now they've launched Air Sial, an airliner, which after 2 years of domestic flying, I'm sure will be a success story in the international, on the international routes. However, the Punjab government and the federal government needs to pay attention to Sialkot. There are many broken roads which needs to be fixed, and the government must spend money on a city that is producing so much for the country. Donald Trump, who has lost the election fairly squarely and been beaten badly, continues to try and find ways to have Biden declared unelected. His latest move was to get a pliant Texas Attorney General to go to the Supreme Court and ask the Supreme Court to declare the election of 4 states null and void: Georgia, Michigan, Penn State, and Wisconsin. Now, it's highly unusual that one state should go and against another state, because the U.S. Constitution does not allow that. So the U.S. Supreme Court basically said, well, the Texas Attorney General has no point to prove. Basically, he has no locus standi, and the court unanimously rejected the petition. Now, out of the 9 Supreme Court judges, 3 of them were appointed by Donald Trump, and he was hoping that perhaps they will unfairly vote in his favor, but that was not to happen. So basically, his game is completely over. It was already over, but now it's completely over, and even those 160 members of the lower house who keeps wanting to go on know that this is really a lose-lose game for them, and they'll probably now start thinking of taking care of their own ridings or constituencies. And on Monday, Joe Biden will officially be declared elected by the Electoral College. So that'll be the end of the story. Now, a couple of weeks ago, Israel attacked and killed one of the top nuclear scientists of Iran, and by using a drone. It is reported that Iran took its revenge by attacking one of the top Mossad chiefs on the streets of Tel Aviv, riddled his car with 12 bullets and killed him on the spot. So I guess it's a tit for tat, and this should be a lesson for Israel not to go and attack other countries. Talking about Israel, Prince Turki Al Faisal of Saudi Arabia, who is the son of King Faisal, the late King Faisal, he really slammed Israel in a meeting in Bahrain, where he said they are European occupiers. They kill people at will, and they demolish houses, they take over, and they absolutely have no moral standing whatsoever. So this was totally against the mantra promoted by MBS, the Crown Prince, who is trying to get many countries to recognize Israel. But it seems that he may not be able to get his own country to recognize Israel, as there's a lot of opposition within Saudi Arabia. Finally, China's exports increased 21% in the month of November, despite COVID, despite everything. And despite all the talk by the US president and the US politicians, the exports to US went up by 6%. 6%, excuse me. While their exports, overall exports went up 21%, China's imports only grew 4.4%. So seems like a good time for China. Now a roundup of the financial markets. S&P 500 closed down at 3699. It was down 36 points, roughly 1%. Nasdaq closed down at 12,377, which was down by 87 points, below 1%. Bombay Sensex jumped up 2.26% by 1,020 points to close at 46,099. Karachi Stock Exchange also moved up 263 points, 0.6% at 42,470. Shanghai Stock Exchange closed down at 33.47. It was down 9 points, or 2.8%. The US dollar to Pak rupee parity is 160. Now, Pak rupee is in a free float now, so it's moving up and down. It went down to 157 a few weeks ago. It was as high as 168 during the peak of Corona. It's settling in the 150, 160 range. The US dollar to Indian rupee is 73.74. US dollar to euro 1.21. 1.21 US dollar to euro, and US dollar to pound is 1.32. And US dollar, the Chinese yuan to US dollar is 6.55. 1 US dollar buys 6.55 Chinese yuan. That's it for the week. I look forward to seeing you next Sunday. Take care and have a wonderful rest of the weekend. Goodbye.